Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. I'm glad to have you guys here on this Sunday, Sunday afternoon. You know what? They're talking about now bringing out digital currency, digitalizing the dollar, and of course, probably what they'll do is go dollar for dollar. In other words, just a direct switch over to a digital dollar. Well, there's a number of conveniences to having a digital dollar. Now, I watched a show the other night with Lynette Zhang and George Gammon. And it opened my eyes to a few things. And I've been thinking about this all weekend, this new digital dollar. And evidently there's some bill that they're going to pass through the government to facilitate this new digital dollar. And they're talking about a 4% negative interest rate policy with the new digital dollar. Basically, another thing that they'll be able to do with the new digital dollar is that they would be able to put a timestamp on them, on the dollars that they pay you. And so if it's in your digital wallet, which you could have on your home computer, you could have it on your Android device, you could have it on your cell phone, Apple, you could have it on your Apple, on your iPhone, you could have the new digital dollar on probably any portable electronic device, And the thing about this new digital dollar is there's several things I thought about what it can do. One of the things that it can do is it would allow them, and this is one of the biggest things I thought of, came to my mind, is it would allow them to keep this Ponzi scheme that they've been running going endlessly. Think about it really, They start with the digital dollar, and that they're going to have, that they can start pumping these dollars out. It makes it so much easier for them to distribute the money too. All they would need is just to connect your wallet to you, like through your social security number or whatever, and they could send you this money, wire it directly into your digital wallet just automatically with automatic payments. So it would really simplify things in that way as far as getting money to the people. Anybody that had a cell phone could have these digital dollars, And almost everybody has cell phones, nowadays. But there's more to it than that. It would make it so that they could continue with this Ponzi scheme that they've been running indefinitely. And I'll explain to you why. Is because just like Bitcoin can be infinitesimal, I have trouble pronouncing the word, infinitesimally separated into smaller and smaller units. Well, right now they call each of those units a Satoshi. And right now they have 99 million Satoshis in a Bitcoin. So one Bitcoin breaks down into 99 million units. But they could extend that decimal point outwards into infinity and make one Bitcoin so it would have more than 99 million. Well, with this new digital dollar, they can do exactly the same thing. So picture in your mind that they come into the marketplace, into the general economy with these digital dollars, right? And they make the transition into the new digital dollar. And say they start pumping out tremendous amounts of money to citizens directly into their digital wallet. Well, inflation's going to start to heat up. And they can control it. Like I say, they can put either a timestamp on it or make it so that the inflation on your digital wallet will make it so that it'll be foolish to save them. And with a timestamp, it would be impossible to save them. Okay, so they're pumping out these digital dollars to all these digital wallets. And everybody starts spending because they can't save them. They're forced to spend them. So spending starts to increase, and eventually the virus would start to disappear in the world. And of course, with spending increasing, you'd start to get inflation. And inflation would start to pick up hotter and hotter, but they would just keep pumping out more and more of these digital dollars. After a while, you'd find that one digital dollar does not buy anything much anymore, and a short time would pass, and people would keep spending these digital dollars faster and faster. And what it would basically be is they would just keep adding zeros and sending you out larger and larger amounts of digital dollars. And you'd keep spending more and more, and prices would keep going up higher and higher and higher. After it got to a certain point, like say a million, for instance, say they added 6 zeros. After a certain point, it would get to the point where the national debt would not be a big deal anymore. Say they get the digital dollar to where $1 trillion buys $1 worth of whatever. Well, then the national debt, we talk about this 26 trillion or whatever the national debt is right now at this moment. That would be $26. The same purchasing power is $26. It's not a problem to pay that off at that point in time. Then all they got to do is just erase all those zeros and make the million the smallest unit. Or a billion or a trillion or whatever it is. It doesn't really matter. It's all just zeros. Just erase all those zeros and make it back to 1 again. So 1 would be, say it's $1 trillion, okay? Say they pay the national debt with the 26 trillion, which would be like $26. Then they just make it back to a single unit again. So the smallest unit then would be $1 trillion. And they could just keep going from there. And it's a reset built right into the new digital currency. The reset is the new digital dollar. That's the way I see it. I've been thinking about this a lot over the weekend, and the reset is the new digital dollar. Also, it gives them complete control. But who would suffer from all this, really? Is savers. There would be no such thing as savers anymore. It'd be the end of savings. Because they already control the dollar-denominated system. They control every aspect about it. But there's loopholes in it. Things like cash. They can't see cash. It can be traded freely off of the internet, cash can, and they can't see the transactions. But with this new digital dollar, there would be no cash, and all the transactions would be recorded on the new digital wallets. And so they would be able to actually see all transactions. This would give them the ability to see all transactions. Of course, there would be such a voluminous amount of transactions, it would be a little bit difficult for them to isolate a transaction, but it could be done. And then they could analyze the transaction, find out where the transaction was made and to who and how much. They would have that information on the new digital wallet. So this would be a reset all in one. As soon as they release a digital currency, they've just basically reset the entire system. Because it doesn't matter how far they expand the new digital wallet. They can add the zeros on and then erase the zeros and go back to a one. I don't know. A little bit hard to explain to you guys exactly what I'm talking about here. But I'm talking about, maybe if I use it in a smaller number, you'll catch on to what I'm saying. If they take it out, if they add 2 zeros and they make it a $100 bill, well, the further they take those zeros, the more ridiculous it becomes. But every time they add a zero, it moves closer toward making that original debt that we started with, the trillions of dollars that the government owes. It makes it more superfluous or meaningless. And so every time they keep adding zeros, in the end, they can make that with all the zeros to it, one single monetary unit. Just by removing all the zeros that they added in the first place. So, in a sense, the dollar we have now would actually become a fraction of a much larger monetary unit that would represent millions or billions or trillions of dollars. It would represent it would be like a Satoshi is now to a Bitcoin. And there's 99 million Satoshis in a Bitcoin. Maybe they'll go with that. Maybe they'll make the new dollar 99 million of these old dollars for $1. And that would make the national debt that we have now 100 million times smaller in purchasing power. Or it would shrink it down. It would shrink it down 100 million times smaller if they made the dollar the equivalent of one Satoshi. And so then the new dollar would actually be $100 million. It's hard to describe to you guys, but that's what they can do when they move to the new digital format. And it's actually very simple to do. It's just playing with the numbers inside the wallet. Removing and adding zeros. It's a reset all in one. The wallet is the reset. The new digital dollar is the reset. It allows them the opportunity to do another thing that's very, very important. To take away the liquidity trap. You know why our economy's sinking right now? We just injected $2.2 trillion into the economy, and the economy's still shrinking. You'd think with injecting all of that money, you'd think the economy would start to pick up. Why the economy's sinking right now is because that money didn't make its way into the economy. And this is a liquidity trap. By creating these new digital wallets, they would take away the liquidity trap completely, because only a fool would try to save these new digital dollars. They would go into the economy directly. It also allows them to have great control over where they send these new digital dollars, who they send them to. They have total control over the monetary supply then at that point in time. I mean, they have such tight control that there's going to definitely be some sort of a class system with these new digital wallets and these new digital dollars. It would have to be, because they're not going to have as much trust and faith in, say, a person that's on Skid Row, a person that's homeless, living in a tent on Skid Row, and is going to spend his money on booze or something. They're not going to have as much faith in that person as they're going to have in a person that has a perfect credit score and who has a nice house and a nice job and everything else. And so they're going to have some sort of a tiering structure on this. It's coming, guys. I can just see it coming. They've been working on it. The Chinese are working on it right now. The American Federal Reserve is working on it. The other central banks are working on it. I think one country's already switched over and they've got rid of cash. And, you know, when the transition comes, it'll be one of these things where they just come out and make an announcement and they say, hey, look, we're bringing in a new digital currency. You've got X amount of time. I don't know how much time that they would give you. X amount of time to transfer all of your funds dollar for dollar into the new digital currency. And if you go past that X amount of time, then your cash is worthless. I mean, who's going to take it if the government says it's worthless and you can't spend it anywhere? What good is it to you, your cash? If you got a big bundle of cash, you might have $10,000 worth of cash sitting in your safe, but if they give you X amount of time, they say, okay, you've got 90 days or 180 days, whatever that X amount of time is, to bring that cash in and convert it into the new digital dollars. And if you go past that time period, and then they say, okay, that's it, nobody's taking the old cash anymore. You can't even bring it in. It's, where are you going to spend it at that point? And what about all this cash outside the country and stuff that people have got socked away in other countries and stuff? What happens to that savings? The United States government's in control over that. If they say, hey, boys, listen, it doesn't matter. I don't care if you're in Zimbabwe. If you got a big safe full of U.S. cash and they give you that period of time to cash it in, and he doesn't cash it in, he keeps it in his safe, well, it's all just invalidated at that point. And it doesn't have any real net worth in the real world other than its paper value. What's it good for? Heating a house? A log in the stove? So, of course, people will go along with the mandate to convert it into the new digital dollar. It'll convert. And your bank account might just do it automatically for you. Convert it over into the... I'm just guessing at that. I'm not sure about that, but I think it's a distinct possibility that your bank account will just convert it over for you. And, another point about this that I want to bring out is that there would be two ends to this wallet. There'd be your side that you see, it's on your computer. That would be the back end of the wallet. But the front end of the wallet would be where it's connected and they can access the wallet at the government to put the money in. So they put the money in there. Of course, they wouldn't put the money physically in each wallet. It'd just be too time-consuming. They have a computer to do it. So once you're set on a certain schedule to receive a certain amount of money, the computer would just go down the line, do each one, and send it out. And it'd just come in. It would be... The whole thing would probably be on a timer, and I mean, you could look at your watch and you say, honey, I want to buy that burger, but I'm out of money, and my new digital dollar wallet's empty, but at 12:01, they're going to send me my check. And you could be sitting there in a restaurant, and it's like 11:59, you're watching the seconds, 11:59, 45, 46, and all of a sudden it's like 12 o'clock. Bing! As soon as that second goes on your watch that's connected to the internet, the money would come right in on that exact second. That's how organized the whole thing would be, how structured it is, But on the other side of that wallet, on their side of the wallet, they could see where the transactions are going, what you're buying, what you're purchasing, where your money's going, and where you're spending it. It gives them total control. But now there's another thing about all this. Because you can't save anymore with these new digital wallets, and it's forced spending, and the money goes, first off, the economy would improve, but there's a second effect, is how are people going to move up their station in life if they're set with these wallets, and the wallets are structured in different tiers, like depending upon your credit score or whatever. How do you move up in life? How do you save money in order to buy a business or whatever? And then how do you do that anymore? Because your money's time-stamped. You got to spend it. You're forced into spending it. How do you ever get ahead? Or you just don't get ahead? I mean, this is something we have to consider, because the American dream is to get ahead, and what people typically have done in the past is they will save cash out of the system, every time they get a 20, they'll stuff it away in a drawer or whatever until they get a tin can full of cash, and then they go out and they try to buy a business or try to go in business or try to move themselves ahead in their station in life. With this new system, you can't save anything. It just comes into your wallet, and you got to spend it as fast as it comes into your wallet, because it's probably going to be time-stamped. They might time-stamp it for every 90 days. So you might only have 90 days to spend it, and it just might disappear from your wallet. interesting. It's very interesting. And we're going to have to wait and see how it goes and how it's implemented. But I think it's coming soon, guys. And, you know, a nemesis to all of this would be the cryptocurrencies, because they're their own financial system running parallel, and you can save in them. In fact, not only can you save in cryptocurrencies, but your money goes up in value instead of down. So we got these new digital currencies that are going to be coming out from the central banks, and all of them have got a inflation rate built in, a high inflation rate, and possibly a digital timestamp on them, so that the money disappears out of the wallet, and you cannot possibly save in those. But then we got this alternative monetary system, which is a digital cryptocurrency system, which not only can you save in them, but the money goes higher and higher in its purchasing power as you're saving in them. So it just seems to me that this new digital system that they're putting in place is going to be a nemesis of it is going to be the cryptocurrency system that's already in place, and that people might start transferring their savings big time. Once this is implemented, people might start saving in cryptocurrencies and use a digital wallet just for their spending to pay their bills and stuff. I could see that going that way. And if that's the case, then this would be, the government would probably want to crack down on the cryptocurrency to some extent, but I don't really see how they could actually stop it, because it could always run as an undercurrent. Something that even if they come out and say, hey, you know what, this is all illegal, cryptocurrencies is now illegal and whatever, they'll have a certain amount of control over it, but the impetus for people to keep their savings in it is going to be so great that they will defy whatever orders they put out to leave it alone, or you're not allowed cryptocurrency and whatever. I mean, let's face it, all the way through history, whenever you tell people they can't do something, I forget what country it was, back years ago, and they made coffee illegal. You go to jail for drinking a cup of coffee or having coffee beans. I know it sounds ludicrous, doesn't it? But illegal coffee houses opened up and stuff. People would sneak in the middle of the night into the coffee house and have a cup of coffee illegally. And that's what they really wanted, Any substance, anything, doesn't matter, even if it's cryptocurrency. You make it illegal, everybody's going to want it. Everybody's going to be the big thing. It makes it even grow even bigger. When people want what they can't have. It's just instinctive amongst people, This is one of the reasons why they had this big war on drugs or whatever. It made more of it. It made it grow during those years when they had all that, And they never really were able to stop it. You can't stop anything that people want. And the more you make people want something, like, just think about it. People are really going to want to save. This is instinctive amongst mankind. Little children start out when they're 5 years old and start saving quarters and pennies and stuff. Savings, for a lot of people, is instinctive. Well, if you force them into a box where they can't save, and then there is something, you tell them it's illegal, that they're not allowed to use it, Bitcoin or whatever, they're going to want it all the more, because you've made the conditions where that's desirable, very desirable, Anyway, listen, I'm rattling on a little bit, but these new digital currencies are coming. Tomorrow I'll be doing the market report, and we'll see what's happening in the world with gold and silver prices, with cryptocurrency prices, And thank you guys for listening to my show. Like and subscribe, and we'll give you guys give me a thumbs up, and we'll anyway, we'll catch you guys Monday. Bye bye.